From candy with real worms and cockroaches, candy eyeballs that look like they're from a real human, to candy gummies in the shape of bugs and insects. Here are 10 creepiest candies ever. Number 10, Bloodmouth Candy. Number 10 on our list of the creepiest candies ever is this bloody mouth candy. Imagine biting into a candy that turns your saliva red and almost looks like blood. A candy that leaves you looking like a vampire after a snack. Now I know what you're thinking. That sounds like a fun and unique candy experience. But let me tell you, it's not as fun as it sounds. If you're feeling brave and want to give them a try, just make sure to have a glass of milk nearby, because these candies not only look awful, they taste awful too. The soapy taste is not to everyone's liking, and most people end up spitting them out. Prepare for a gooey red mess, which is sure to scare your friends and family. The candies do exactly what they say they'll do. They give you a bloody mouth. Number 9, hard candies shaped like teeth or fangs. Hard candies shaped like teeth or fangs might sound like an interesting treat to try, but it could also give a person the creeps. Imagine biting into something that looks like a tooth and having it crack in your mouth. That's not a good feeling. It's like your candy's biting back. But it's not just the appearance of these candies that's creepy. It's also the idea of eating something that just looks like a tooth. Joke time. Why did the candy stop going to the dentist? He was afraid of getting a filling. Despite the creep factor, it's important to remember that these candies are just treats and are not made of real teeth. They're made of sugar and other ingredients that are safe to consume. So next time you come across candies shaped like teeth or fangs, don't be afraid to give them a try, but be aware that they might give you the creeps. Number 8, cockroach clusters. Now these candies may not be suitable for those with a weak stomach, but if you're into that kind of thing, then these candies are definitely for you. Jokes aside, these candies can be quite unsettling to see. The cockroaches, even though they're made of chocolate and nuts, look so realistic. It's almost like you're eating a real cockroach. And let's be honest, no one wants to eat real cockroaches, even if they were made of chocolate. It's always important to be aware of what you're consuming, especially when it comes to candies. It's not uncommon for candies to have peculiar shapes, but when it comes to realistic looking cockroaches, that's where the line should be drawn. It's better to be safe than sorry when it comes to what you're putting in your mouth. After all, you don't want to end up having nightmares about cockroaches crawling around your stomach. If you think these were creepy, things are about to get even creepier. Keep watching to see what's next. Number 7, chocolate-shaped brain. At first glance, it might seem like a fun and unique candy to try, but upon closer inspection, it can be quite unnerving. The realistic shape and texture can be unsettling and make you question what you're about to put in your mouth. Have you heard about the chocolate brain that went to the doctor? The doctor said, "You're not thinking clearly, you need to get some rest." It's always important to be cautious when it comes to candies, especially when they're shaped like body parts. While it may seem like a harmless and unique candy to try, it's important to consider the potential impact on one's mental state. It's also important to check for any warning or ingredients before consuming. So next time you're considering trying a chocolate brain, remember that it might be a tasty treat, but it can also be a bit creepy. It's better to stick with the classic candies, unless you're looking for a spooky treat that'll give you the creeps. Number 6, candy skulls and skeletons. When it comes to candies, sometimes the packaging can be just as scary as the treat itself. Take candies with skulls or skeletons on the packaging, for instance. These candies might be perfect for a Halloween party or for those who are into the horror genre, but for others, they can be a bit too much. Imagine biting into a candy shaped like a skull or having a skeleton staring at you while you eat. It's always important to be cautious when it comes to candies and to check for any warnings or ingredients before consuming. But let's be real, who wants to read a warning label when you're eating candies? That's like reading the fine print on a contract. No one wants to do it. Just a friendly reminder. Consuming too many candies with skeletons on the packaging might give you nightmares, and no one wants that. On the other hand, if you're brave enough to take on these candies, just make sure not to eat them before bedtime, or you might be in for a spooky night. Number 5, horror flick bites. Now you may be thinking, who in their right mind would make candies shaped like the scariest of villains from horror movies? But believe it or not, these candies do exist. They're marketed as a fun and edgy way to enjoy candy, but in reality, they can be pretty disturbing. Imagine biting into a candy and realizing that you're not alone. Staring back at you is Michael Myers, Hannibal Lecter, Jason, Ghostface, or even Freddy Krueger. Not exactly appealing. It's important to keep in mind that these candies may be marketed as fun or edgy, but they can be unsettling for some individuals, especially those with a fear of horror movies. These candies are sure to scare away your friends, so you may have to eat them all by yourself. But even though you may have to eat them all by yourself, are you really alone with these bad guys looking up at you? I don't know about you guys, but I'd much prefer the candy of Willy Wonka to the Candyman. Number 4, chocolate shaped like body parts, such as fingers and toes. toes. Chocolate shaped like body parts is definitely one of the creepiest candies out there. Imagine biting into a chocolate finger or toe. It's enough to give anyone the shivers. But it's not just the shape of these candies that's creepy. The packaging is often designed to look like a real body part that's been cut off. It's like something straight out of a horror movie. And let's not forget the taste. Have you ever tasted chocolate flavored toes? It's not something one would want to experience. Or I could be wrong. Maybe some think it's terrific. As a matter of fact, it's better to stick with the classic candies like gummy bears or chocolate bars because they're always a safe bet. On a side note, if you ever come across a chocolate shaped like a nose, just remember the old saying, don't be nosy, just eat the chocolate. In all seriousness, it's important to be cautious when consuming candies, and it's always good to check the ingredients and packaging before consuming. Starting now, things get even creepier. Keep watching to the end. Number 3, gummy candies in the shape of bugs or insects. When it comes to gummy candies, there's nothing quite as creepy as the ones shaped like bugs or insects. It's almost as if you're eating a real bug, and that's just plain gross. Imagine biting into a gummy candy only to discover it looks just like a cricket, a cockroach, or a horrifying tarantula. Yuck! But it's not just the shape that makes these candies creepy, it's also the way they're marketed. Have you ever seen a package of gummy bugs with the tagline, deliciously creepy, or satisfy your cravings for creepy? It's enough to make anyone lose their appetite. And let's not forget about the flavors. Sure, traditional gummy candies come in fruity flavors like strawberry or raspberry, but when it comes to bug-shaped gummies, the flavors take a turn for the worse. Imagine biting into a gummy tarantula that's supposed to taste like chocolate. It's just not appetizing. In short, bug-shaped gummy candies can be creepy, but also a great way to prank friends. Just make sure you're prepared for the consequences. It's important to always check the packaging and ingredients of the candies before consuming, as you are surely in for a big surprise. Number 2, candy eyeballs that look like they're from a real human. Candy eyeballs that look like they're from a real human. Now that's just plain creepy. Imagine biting into a candy and realizing it looks like a real eye. It's enough to give anyone the heebie-jeebies. But in all seriousness, it's important to be aware of what candies contain and what they look like. It might not be the most pleasant task, but it's better than biting into something that looks like it came from a horror movie. Speaking of horror movies, it's hard to believe that candy manufacturers would even consider making candies that look like real human eyes. It's almost as if they're trying to create the next generation of Child's Play dolls. In all fairness, some people find it amusing. It's like a twisted version of I Spy game. I spy with my little eye something that looks like it came from a horror movie. It's not just the appearance that's creepy, it's also the thought of consuming something that resembles a real human eye. You never know what kind of nightmare you might be biting into, but if you do happen to come across candy eyeballs, just remember one thing, at least they're not real eyes. Number 1, candy with real worms and cockroaches. Candy with real maggots? Oh yeah, you heard that right. That's one candy that's sure to give you the creeps. I mean, who wants to eat something that looks like it's crawling with maggots? Not me, that's for sure. It's like, hey, here's a treat for you, but it's also a worm infestation. Gross. It's not just the appearance that's creepy either. Think about it, it's a candy. It's supposed to be chocolatey or chewy and full of sweet flavor, but the candy's covered with real bugs. Ugh. But here's a joke to lighten the mood a bit. Why did the gummy worm go to the doctor? Because it was feeling a little maggoty. In all seriousness though, it's important to pay attention to what's in the candies you're consuming. Some candies contain ingredients or have packaging that may not be suitable for certain individuals. It's always better to be safe than sorry. So before biting into that gummy worm, make sure to take a closer look at the packaging and ingredients. If it looks like it's crawling with maggots, it might be best to pass on that treat. Enjoyed the video? Now watch this one.